but specifically young men, grow up without learning a lot of the skills that I discussed. And it's kind of a shame. There's a lot of skills that I grew up not knowing how to do as well, so I had to take it upon myself to learn it quite a bit later in life. And I haven't mastered all those skills either. And so I'm not saying that I've made it. I'm saying that it's a continuous process and we should always be striving to better ourselves. Just finished up a big ride, literally just got home maybe 2 hours ago, something like that. And we are going to be doing a little maintenance on the moto. We're at 600 miles, a little over 600 miles, which is its break-in period. So we're gonna do his first oil change. And my best friend, Scarlett, is gonna help me.
No. Stay.
Loosen this right here.
Oh.
What's this called?
Ratchet.
What's this called?
Socket.
There you go. Go ahead.
Pull it out.
Yep, keep going. When it comes out, it's gonna be hot, so just keep your hand.
Ooh. That wasn't hot.
No? Poor thing. Got her hands oily. 14 millimeter wrench, Scarlett. Find it. Make sure the wrench is all the way on there or you'll round it off.
Yes?
Yeah, that thing right there. Once it gets really loose, you can just spin it by hand, or you can put the ratchet back on there and spin the extension. Yes, it does. Perfect. That's good. There we go. That's what we want. This guy right there. All right, so we're gonna add some oil, and for this engine, I'm gonna use this Shell Rotella T6 5WF40 full synthetic heavy duty diesel engine oil. Now I've got a buddy that has been riding and racing for years, a long, long time, and he runs this oil right here in his motors, KTMs and Hondas and all the other stuff that he's ridden, and he's had really, really good success with it, and it's a whole lot less expensive than your boutique motor oils that are designed specifically for the performance of the single cylinder engine. This is going to work really good. It's got a high tolerance for heat because it's for diesel engines, and diesel engines run really hot. So I'm going to roll with this as well. I'm going to trust his judgment, and I'm going to go with this T6 Rotella here. Is our oil filter that cleans the oil. The oil gets pushed through it, and any debris and stuff that might be in there, from little metal shavings to the carbon that gets built up in the engine from just the combustion cycle, will get filtered, hopefully, with that oil filter. All right, get there. You are going to turn the key on. There you go. Pull the choke. This is the choke. That gives it a little bit more fuel in the very beginning when you're first trying to start the thing. Yep. And then all you got to do is hit this button right here. The kill switch is on, so push that down. Yep, hit that. Take the choke off. Push it forward. All right. It's a messy enough process without you smearing it all over my arms.
You're dirty.
And all over the seat. Goodness gracious.
Whoops, my bad.
Yeah, it is your bad. That's one more lap. We gotta go. He does not want to go. He wants to ride. I don't blame him. So I did a video not too long ago, I guess it's been a little while now, on the top 10 skills every man should master. I think that was the title, something like that at least. And it really resonated with a lot of people, I think. You know, because I think a lot of people, because I think a lot of young men, specifically young men and women, I guess, but specifically young men, grow up without learning a lot of the skills that I discussed in that video, and it is kind of a shame. And there's a lot of skills that I grew up not knowing how to do as well, so I had to take it upon myself to learn it quite a bit later in life, and I haven't mastered all those skills either. And so I'm not saying that I've made it. I'm saying that it's a continuous process, and we should always be striving to better ourselves and learn more and be more capable to be stronger physically, spiritually, emotionally. And we only get that way. We only get stronger. We only grow by doing. And, you know, one of the reasons why I have my kids out here doing this stuff, you know, my daughter's not interested in changing oil on a motorcycle. Of course not. That's not really her thing. You know, she has a pretty decent attitude about it, and she does a good job once you get her started. But, you know, she was telling me the other day, she said, you know, why do I need to learn this? I'm not a boy, you know? And I thought to myself, you know, that's just one of those, and I thought it was funny when she said that, because, you know, it's not just young men that need to learn things like this. It's not just young men that need to learn how to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, be able to change a tire on the side of the road. One day, when she breaks down on the side of the road with a flat tire, she's going to be able to get out of that car. She's going to be able to pull the spare tire out. She's going to jack that car up, and she's going to put a spare tire on there and drive away. And she's going to have a real sense of accomplishment that otherwise, you know, she would have a sense of helplessness if she didn't learn how to do that early in life. And so I want that for my kids. I want that for you guys. I want you to get your hands dirty. I want you to experience things. I want you to learn new skills. And whatever it takes to learn new skills, if getting a motorcycle like this one, which is awesome and a super ton of fun, the Apocabike, Apocalypse motorcycle, it's so much fun, but it also allows me to learn new things and gain knowledge and experiences. Like the other day I learned that you could break the bead, you could break the seal on the where the tire presses against the wheel really, really securely, the bead. You can break that, which is really difficult to do sometimes. You can do that with the side stand of the motorcycle. You can use the weight of the motorcycle to push on that bead and help you change the tire. I learned a new skill that may save the day one day on the side of the road. And I'm not just talking about mechanics. I'm talking about anything and everything in life that we could become more proficient at, wiser, more well-rounded. These handlebars are super low and sweeping. When you ride this motorcycle in its current state, seated is pretty comfy. It's pretty comfortable to ride seated, but when you stand up and the road gets rocky and rough and roots and rocks and ruts and all that stuff, and you want to stand up so you can absorb a lot of those impacts, you have to really reach for those bars, and it's awkward and uncomfortable. It's just not, they're just not in the right spot for me personally. So what I want to do is I want to raise these puppies up a little bit, and that's going to start with removing the current handlebars and taking all the stuff that's attached to them off. And then we're going to replace them with a little bit taller handlebars and some risers. And these aluminum risers right here, we're going to put on to the bike, and hopefully that's going to put me in a much more comfortable, more agile riding position when standing. When I'm working on the motorcycle, I try to use all of the tools from my tool kit that I carry with me on the motorcycle. So if I find anything that looks that's insufficient, like maybe the screwdriver isn't getting the job done and I need to upgrade or get a smaller one or a bigger one or whatever, different size. If I discover that while working on the motorcycle, it's best to do it now as opposed to on the side of the road somewhere. I hate Phillips head screws. So sometimes what's worked for me is if I tap, I put a little pressure on it, and then I tap on the screwdriver with my hammer. Sometimes you can break it free. Guys, get out of here. Shoo. You dang ducks. Get. Shoo. My goodness. There we go. There we go. Finally broke it free. The other one should be much easier now. Look at that. There we go. I'd say those are going to be about, you know, an inch taller, give or take. And a nice little addition that I added to the motorcycle as well. Look at that. A little wazoo light. So if I'm broke down on the side of the road somewhere, battery's dead and the flashlight's in my pocket, or I forgot that flashlight, I've always got one Ready to rock. Let's see. Oh, that's significantly better. My dad taught me a lot of my mechanicking skills. I'm not a good mechanic because I didn't pay very close attention. My dad's a really good mechanic. And, you know, that's what he was interested in. He was always tinkering with cars and motorcycles and stuff. And I just wasn't into it. I didn't want to learn about this kind of stuff. And I regret it now. I mean, I wish I would have paid more attention. Looking back, I wish I would have paid attention. So if you're a young person and you've still got a chance to learn from your elders, soak it in, man. Even if it's something that you're not super keen on, like it's not your passion, still do your best to pay attention and learn as much as you can, because you might look back one day and regret it. Look at this champion. Getting ready to ride. Put it in neutral, dude.
I did.
I don't think you did. Rock it back and forth. Kick it again. Push it down. There you go. Can you start it?
Yeah, I can start it.
Show me how you start it. Yeah, get it. Pull the spark plug out. We'll clean it and it should be good. So we've run into a slight problem here. I don't feel like it's going to be anything major, but my throttle cables don't quite reach the throttle because of the height and width of these new handlebars. We've got a shortage there. So I think I might just be able to reroute the cables and get a little bit more length, but we won't know until we try. If I could offer one tip when it comes to mechanicking, construction type jobs, it's if you get frustrated, walk away. Take a short little break, come back, and you'll have a whole new outlook on the whole project. If you get frustrated, you're gonna end up breaking something or hurting yourself or just making it a whole lot more troublesome than it needs to be. So, like I said, if it's starting to get a little irritating, can't quite figure something out, walk away. And generally speaking, when you come back, you'll see it in a different light and you can usually solve the problem. Perfect. Pretty pleased with how that worked out. Now I just got to get the grip on the other side. And for that, I'm going to use a little bit of clear spray paint here. Well, my good buddy Shane from Southern Honda Power Sports, formerly with Essie, and that's how I met him, through, you know, the survival community. But he's transitioned in his life, and he is doing some motoing, and we share that bond. I think that's why we get along so well, is because we just got a lot in common. But anyway, he has suggested that I, in order to make this the ultimate Apocabike, that I get rid of all of the day-ender problems that we might have. And like I've said before, a stock motorcycle like this, just off the shelf, is good. It's ready to ride, and I've ridden it 600 and something miles with no issues, pretty much stock, with, I guess, the exception of adding a big fuel tank. But there are some things on this motorcycle that if you're really pushing it, if you're really doing some adventurous type activities or going off the beaten path, there are some issues that you might run into that could possibly end your day, end your ride, and leave you stranded, leave you stuck. And one of those that I am going to try to upgrade here is the air filter. Now, there's nothing wrong per se with this air filter. It works great. It filters the air perfectly. It's got a nice rubber gasket. Nice rubber gasket on there that's going to keep the air flowing and keep it nice and clean and your engine lasting a really, really long time. An air filter is a big deal. So sorry, not rubber gasket, it's got a foam gasket. But if this should get wet because I'm crossing rivers or I drop it in a river or something like that, it's going to be pretty much shot. And it's kind of a hefty thing. I mean, this is probably a pound, give or take. And you can't clean it. When it's done, it's done. And I don't like that. I want to be able to reuse the same air filter multiple times, clean the thing, wash it out with soapy water, and then re-oil it and put it back. An oiled foam filter like this one is going to be cleanable. It's going to last a lot longer. It weighs nothing. I mean, geez, I don't even know what that weighs. I can't even guess, but it weighs really nothing. So this is what I'm going to put on there, and it's just going to make this bike that much more durable and adventure ready. Like that. Then I'm going to do one extra step, probably not necessary, but one extra step. I'm going to spray a little grease around the outside of the filter here. Just to ensure that it's waterproof. Well, I guess not waterproof, but you get what I'm saying. Check around. I think that'll do it. It's nice. This airbox is pretty well protected. It doesn't breathe that great, but there's a lot of guys modify this kind of stuff so the bike gets more oxygen and runs faster, more power. But to be honest with you, I'm not really interested in any of that stuff. What I'm interested in is the bike getting from A to B. That's what I want. And so reliability is super high on my list. And for that reason, I won't be doing a whole lot of modifications to the airbox here. I want it to keep the water out. And if that means that it restricts a little bit of airflow, then so be it. So I want this thing to stay dry no matter what. So this plastic right here pushes against this rubber gasket. And I could go one step further and I could give this a little squirt of grease. And that's probably what I'm going to do, actually. Just try to get it lightly in there. I don't want a lot. Don't want to make a mess. Right there. And now the only way water can get in here potentially is through right here, this little snorkel that's up underneath the seat. And if I'm in water that deep, we've got some problems. So I'm going to try to avoid that if possible. Here we go. So one of the most common complaints is that the sprocket is thin on the front. So the sprocket that it comes with is kind of thin, and it kind of walks across that's the splines on this shaft right here, and can create some premature wear. And if that wears out, it's a big job to replace it. So, and probably very expensive. So I want to avoid that at all costs, anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it with this thicker one. And I've got two here. One of them is a 14, one's a 15. And if I put a 14 on here, that's going to gear this bike down, and it's going to make it easier to ride at slower speeds on more technical, tight stuff. So I'm going to try it out. As long as it doesn't gear it down too low to the point where I'm like buzzing, that's too high of RPMs on the highway. I don't want that. I want to be able to ride 65 miles per hour on this bike with no problems. And go. There we go. While they appear to be roughly the same thickness, if you look, this one, if you look at the inside of them, you can see the difference in thickness, hopefully. Something I've done to my toolkit is my wrenches that I used for the axle. I have wrapped electrical tape around one and duct tape around another, because everybody knows duct tape and electrical tape, you can fix just about anything. Another pro tip, every time you work on something, clean it up. Like every part that you take off, you know, if it's convenient. I'm not saying do it on the side of the trail every time, but when you're doing something like this, clean each part, because it just makes life so much better next time you have to work on it. Squeaky clean like new. Let's just take it for a quick spin and see how that 14-tooth sprocket works. Oh, huge improvement. Way better. Huge improvement as far as handling goes. I can stand up really comfortably and ride. That is a win. Definitely. It was just really hard to stand up and ride off-road because I just couldn't reach the handlebars very comfortably in the position that I wanted to be in. So therefore I was sitting down more than I should. You should stand up as much as possible on a motorcycle if you're off-road, because it just allows the bike to move freely underneath you and you don't lose control. You're not getting bounced around. You stay kind of stationary and the motorcycle's doing all this crazy stuff. The 14-tooth sprocket, I think might be a win. The only downside is that I don't have a whole lot of chain adjustment left. It's getting close. But other than that, I think I could get used to that, because it's first gear is nice and low now for tight technical trails. I don't have to use the clutch so much and slip it. And then at highway speed, it was 65 miles an hour. It wasn't crazy high RPMs. It was definitely noticeably higher, but I don't really ride that fast very much. So I typically try to stay off the highways and stay on the back roads. But 65 was still comfortable, and that's as fast as I'm going to go for the most part on this thing. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Get your hands dirty. Get out there, experiment. Learn new skills as much as possible, and the only way to do that is by doing. Let me know what you think about the Apocabike. Let me know if there's anything else I need to do to the thing. And also in the comment section, let me know some skills that you've been working on, or you've recently acquired, something that you're learning. That would be really great. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I cannot wait to see you on the next one.